Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. Before we get started, I just want to review a few technical items. At the bottom of your Zoom viewing screen, you will see audio settings and Q&A. Click on audio settings to ensure your preferred audio device is selected in the Select a Speaker section to listen to the audio of today's event. There will be a Q&A portion during today's event. Please use the Q&A function to input any questions you may have throughout. We will address as many questions as possible during the Q&A portion. A couple things to note: all participant audio is set to listen only, and this event is being recorded. And without further delay, I'll be handing things over to Juan.
Good morning. And actually, if we could go back one slide, please. Great. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today here at our residential space and water heat virtual event. We'll jump right on in and take a look at the agenda we got going here today. First, we'll be going over a safety moment, then some news to know. We'll then do some team introductions and give you some information on some prizes we'll be giving out. Then we'll go through the program overviews and then follow that up with a live Q&A with today's panelists. And then at the end, we'll finish everything off with winners to be contacted and a post-event survey information. Next slide, please. So here at Peach Sun Energy, we take safety very seriously, and we have safety moments before every meeting we have. Considering we've had a few storms here that have caused a few outages, I thought it would be a good idea to go over an emergency kit checklist of some items that might be useful to have in an emergency kit in case of a power outage. So let's jump right in. So having some water and food that'll last you for about 7 to 10 days. Make sure that the food is non-perishable. Have some cash on you, because if there's an outage, most likely storms are going to be storms are going to knock out the power, so there won't be any ATMs available. Have some flashlights available as opposed to candles. Candles can be a fire hazard, so flashlights are the way to go. And then you'll want to have a radio that's battery powered, because in an outage, again, there's going to be no power, so you're not going to be able to charge any of your electronic devices or get any sort of updates. And then also, just have some warm clothes, some blankets, some shoes, gloves, all those kinds of things that can keep your family comfortable during the outage time. And then also, just keep in mind your unique family needs. So if you have infants, elderlies, or even pets in your family, make sure you have all of their essentials so that everybody is comfortable during the outage. And, our main goal here is that everybody is prepared, that there's a plan, and that we weather the storm together. Next slide, please. So now for some news to know. So PSC.com will now be offered in multiple languages starting January 2023. So now it will be available in Chinese, Hindi, Korean, Russian, Spanish, and Vietnamese. So if you know anybody who needs some language assistance, they will now be able to access our website through all those languages. Next slide. All right, now for some quick team introductions. My name is Juan Farias Torres. I am the outreach coordinator for PSE. Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly Lloyd. I'm the program manager for our midstream programs for HVAC and water heat. We have new construction and retrofit and commercial and residential under my programs. Thanks, Juan.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Megan Lacey. I'm the program manager for our downstream space heat and weatherization and windows rebate programs for our single family residential folks. But for this presentation, I'll be focusing on our space heat rebates.
Hello, I'm Pat Casper. I am the program manager for downstream water heat and retail appliances, but obviously focusing on water heat today.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kevin Peterson. I am the market manager for PSE's internal rebates and verification team, but today I will be filling in for Colin Stone, who is our Trade Ally Program Manager.
All right, and now for the fun stuff. Today we'll be giving away one grand prize of $300 for a DoorDash gift certificate so you can treat your team or office. And then 10 lucky winners will also be receiving a $20 Starbucks gift card. So stick around until the end of the virtual event for more details on that. Next slide. So why energy efficiency? Well, PSC is dedicated to providing achievable, cost-effective energy savings programs and incentives to ratepayers. Programs are developed using ratepayer dollars, regional saving estimates, and estimate costs. And cost effectiveness is always key. Incentives are rate repayments back to the customer. And verification of savings is essential as it is consistently following PSC's documentation requirements. Holly, take it away.
All right, well, I'm super excited to see how many registrations we had, over 100. This is really a great opportunity for PSC to present its 2023 rebate changes, so there's no confusion and we don't result in unwanted denials. Next slide. All right, so I run our midstream programs, and our objectives, holy cow, are to partner with local HVAC and heat pump water heater distributors. They are the ones that are the equipment experts, and we want to touch every sale. We're trying to save as much energy as we can. We have really lofty savings goals that the Washington Utility Commission requires us to meet. And so the midstream program helps us touch every sale for high efficiency, as opposed to relying on the customer to submit a rebate application. The distributors are required to pass through the incentive to contractors. We work with contractors and distributors to collaboratively promote the sale of high efficiency equipment for residential and small commercial customers. And we request that the contractor pass the incentive through to the customer, but we do not require it. We feel that the contractor knows best how to use that incentive, whether it's to market high efficiency to their customers or to use it as sales spiffs for their own internal folks to upsell high efficiency. So let's jump into what's changing for 2023. The Department of Energy issued new efficiency standards as of January 1st of 2023, and the minimum efficiency requirements changed, but the testing regulations also changed. So this has resulted in us having this new HSPF2 factor, and we'll get into kind of what that means in a little bit. So the new M1 test takes into account new external static pressure conditions that will mirror real world conditions, whereas the original test they feel was a laboratory result and wasn't necessarily saving exactly what was resulting in the lab. So this test is kind of meant to reset that so that it actually is what the customer is going to see and save. It's being implemented differently across the US. HSPF is heating season performance factor, but SEER is seasonal energy efficiency rating, and the SEER is related to air conditioning. So states in the South have higher air conditioning loads. So the feds made it so that anyone installing equipment after January 1st must meet this new SEER 2 and HSPF 2 rating. Whereas in the northern states, we have lower air conditioning loads. And so they're allowing the equipment that has the old rating to be sold. And it's the manufacture date that is the set point. So if it's manufactured after January 1st is when it falls into place for the northern states. So the midstream HVAC program is going to take a phased approach on looking at the HSPF2, because we imagine, and the manufacturers have told us, that the southern states are going to ship their equipment that they can no longer install after January 1st up to the north. And so we'll see a continuation of sales of the older equipment with the old rating come through in the north. Next slide. Okay, so can you hit one more? There we go. So table 1 is the exact same midstream rebates that were available in 2022. And basically, equipment that's coming through that has HSPF, the original HSPF qualifier, is going to remain on this table 1. Can you hit the animation. So table 2 will take effect on July 1st. So any equipment coming through that has HSPF 2 after July 1st will apply to this table. So it depends on when you buy the equipment from your distributor as to which table will take effect. And we're going to see equipment that only has HSPF because it's that older equipment being shipped up north. So for the whole year, if in AHRI it only has HSPF, table 1 will apply for the whole year. But when it has both, if you'll hit the animation again, and one more, 2 more, there we go. So if it has both is when you're going to have to know what the date of sale is. So some equipment we're seeing through has HSPF 2 only. And so we're paying at table 2 rates. We've also, for table 2, combined right now, because we use regional savings from the RTF for our downstream program, we call them ducted or ductless, right? Traditional unitary or ductless. But that tends to have less of a factor for the savings. And it really is more a factor of if it's a variable speed motor as to its efficiency. And so after July 1st, or for any equipment that has HSPF 2, we are no longer going to call them ducted or ductless for our midstream program. We're just going to call them air source heat pumps. And there's going to be a single criteria. So the whole, ducted, ductless units, the confusion we have there is that we're using RTF and they set up the savings to be very specific. But for the midstream program, we're going to move away from that. Likely in 2024, we're going to move away from it on our downstream programs as well and have just an air source heat pump with specific criteria that must be met. And it won't matter if it's a variable speed, ducted or ductless and all of that. Next slide. Okay, so how are you going to know if AHRI has HSPF and or HSPF 2? You can visit the AHRI directory. If you type in your AHRI number, or you can search by model number, it will display if there's HSPF or HSPF 2. In this case, it has both. So a lot of the equipment is going to have both. And when it does, you'll know if it's before June 30th, you're going to follow the HSPF. And if it's after July 1st, you're going to follow the HSPF 2. And I know this is a little complicated, but we did not want to have a hard and fast rule because there's only about 16% of the equipment in AHRI right now coming through with HSPF 2. So if we transition to it, we felt like this phased approach would be the least confusing way for the distributors and contractors at their purchase points. Okay, so for midstream heat pump water heaters, we do have a change for 2023. We are retiring the retrofit NEA Tier 1, and that's just because the code has increased, and we're only able to count savings from existing condition to code, but because the NEA Tier 1s, because the Washington State Energy Code is now requiring a NEA Tier 3, we just felt we could not continue to claim savings on this. The good news is we are going to continue our $100 contractor spiff. So if you look at this table and you're installing a residential retrofit and you install a NEA Tier 3 or 4, the distributor will pass through the $500 to you with an additional $100 that is not intended to be passed through to the customer. So what we would anticipate is you would offer the customer the $500 discount to remove that initial first cost barrier, and then keep the $100 to incentivize either your sales staff that is spending the time to convince the customer to move away from a traditional electric water heater to a hybrid electric heat pump water heater. And NEA has updated its northern climate specification to a version 8.0, but it remains basically the same. And the big changes for the 8.0 version are effective for commercial heat pump water heaters. PSC's heat pump water heater on the commercial side, we do allow anything below 120 gallons for commercial applications, and that's rebated at $600 with a $100 spiff. All right, so who's eligible for midstream? It's a regional program with Seattle City Light and Snohomish PUD. We had hoped for 2023 that Tacoma was going to start participating, but Tacoma is kind of going a different route. And so it's just the 3 utilities at this time. It applies to single family, multifamily, manufactured homes for small commercial and new construction or retrofit. And there is a limit of one heat pump or heat pump water heater per household. If it is a large custom home greater than 4,000 square feet, you can ask your distributor for an exception and we will approve 2 units, but we do validate the square footage using assessor maps. And then there's no limit on small commercial units. So if you have a commercial customer that has a facility that would require 3 heat pump water heaters or 3 heat pumps, they would all receive the same incentive so long as they met the minimum qualifications. So what do you need to participate? Well, first of all, the distributor that you're working with has to have signed a distributor participation agreement with the utilities. And we keep a list on our website of which distributors are participating. You will need the installation address, which has to be complete with zip code and any kind of suite numbers. We need the customer and or business name, and then the building type. Is it single family? Is it office, retail, industrial, whatever the application will be. And also whether it's new construction or a retrofit, and any kind of major remodel would be considered new construction. And then also the estimated installation date. And this is just a graphic of the service territory that's served by all 3 of the utilities that are participating. Okay, so the Inflation Reduction Act has come out, and there will be increased federal tax credits that allows a customer now to submit annually and has significantly increased what a customer can deduct from their taxes. The programs that we designed do not exactly meet the IRA. The IRA listed CEE as the criteria to qualify, and then CEE modified its qualifications very late in 2022. They were actually published. One of them was published in December and the other in November. And we must design our programs and submit them to the utility commission. So the timing prevented us from aligning exactly. So what we want to do is manage customer expectations and make sure that contractors that are selling equipment to our customer know that they'll qualify for PSE, but throw it out there that it may not qualify for the federal tax credit. And this is kind of the missing criteria. Let's see. So CEE, what we've done in this presentation is provide you what the CEE specifications are. And we've also provided links on our website so that you all can go and educate you and your staff of what the requirements are to meet the federal tax credit. And then if you want to ensure that the equipment meets this as well as ours, then you can tell the customer that they would be eligible for both. So the red dot, the red circles are the tier that is called out in the federal tax credit. And so you can see that we require 8.1 for our tier 1. And then for the non-ducted, our highest tier will qualify at the 9.5. And note that the SEER is 15.2 for the packaged and the ducted, but it's 16 for ducted. So we made our tier 3 meet 16. The big issue here is we did not require capacity ratios. Currently, there is not a ton of units that meet these capacity ratios, and PSE did not want to have very little equipment eligible for its rebates. So there's kind of several reasons why we didn't align with this, but this is going to push the market. We anticipate that distributors and manufacturers will be pressured to produce more equipment that meets these capacity ratios. And so we're hopeful that eventually there will be a lot more equipment in the market. And in 2024, we may be able to align a bit better. Next slide. Okay, so this is just a similar slide for heat pump water heaters. We use NEA tiers as the qualifier because it has a better evaluation of the cold climate that we live in. Washington State Energy Codes uses the NEA tiers, and so we felt that there was important to balance that with what the codes are. This is just a table showing you what the NEA tiers look like and sort of what they take into consideration. And then on the right is the CEE tiers that to qualify for the federal tax credit, this is what you have to meet. And what we found is about 15% of the NEA equipment doesn't meet this, but a majority of it does. So we'll have sort of less of a hiccup with this one meeting the federal tax code credit. requirements than on heat pumps. So we do have residential and commercial NEA QPL links on our website. And this is just showing you that even though we're using a cold climate efficiency and the federal tax credit is using a uniform energy code, or uniform energy factor, it is listed on the QPL. So a customer or you can look to see if it qualifies for the federal tax credit on the QPL. So that's kind of nice. So PSE met with several contractors last year, and we identified some tools that were of interest and that folks thought might help things. And so what we've done is we've updated our website. On pse.com /midstream is where we list our distributor lists and phone numbers. If you want to contact and get pricing or figure out, if you want to switch distributors, if you're working with someone who's not in our program. Whenever you're working with a distributor that's not part of our program, if you reach out to us, we will send them all of the information they would need if they're interested and get them enrolled as quickly as possible. It also shows all of our qualifying product tables and the dates. We also created a regional midstream zip code lookup tool, and it basically overlaps all of the 3 utilities that are participating to show whether or not equipment will be in one of the 3 utility service territories. So every 6 months, we'll be updating this and posting it to our website. Again, this applies only to the midstream program, which is through the distributor. PSE's service territory is obviously different than the other 2 utilities, so you won't want to use this for downstream rebates. Otherwise, you might be promising rebates that are outside of our service territory. So just remember, when you're purchasing at the distributor is when you would want to look at the zip code lookup tool to see if you're eligible. And we also created a heat cost calculator for space and water heat. So you can plug in what fuel is being used and what type of water heater and or heater, and it kicks out sort of what the estimated cost will be to the customer. Because I know a lot of customers sort of don't know if using gas with electric or using gas only or electric only, which would be the most efficient bill savings for them. So we're hoping that this tool will help contractors sort of advise customers. So like I said, all of the tools that we're talking about today are going to be posted to our website, and they're going to be at the PSE Trade Ally information. And this is a link here with the actual URL shown. And this will have all of the tables for contractors for downstream and midstream. It will have rebate tables for customers. It's more intended to show a customer what rebates they will be eligible for. It's going to have the NEA QPLs, the heat cost calculator that I referenced, the midstream zip code lookup tool. It will have links to CEE for heat pumps and heat pump water heater specifications so that you can share those with your customer. And then it'll also have the advanced water heating specification in case anyone's interested in that, a link to the AHRI directory, and then also Desire, which is it's a website that is one of the universities on the East Coast updates it, and they basically try to give an overview of what the federal tax credit looks like. And it's kind of complicated, which is why we're not trying to train on that today, but take a look at Desire. And then, if you have questions as far as like how programs align with the PSE requirements, we'll be happy to have those conversations. Okay, that's it for me. We'll do a couple of polling questions here. We would like to know from the audience, how many of you are currently participating in PSE's midstream rebate program? We want to know if it's with heat pumps or heat pump water heaters or both. If you don't participate, you have difficulty maneuvering through it. You don't see the value. If you don't have the address at the time of purchase, that's something we'd like to know about. And then if you didn't know about it at all until today, we'll give you just about 20 seconds here to make a selection. We'll be using this information to try to learn how we can improve the program for 2024. We anticipate these programs will continue, so we really want to gather feedback as to how it impacts you all. So it looks like a lot of you are participating for both and heat pumps, and just a handful didn't know about it. So we'll love to get more information out to you on this. Let's see, next polling question. Okay, so are any of you or your HVAC techs interested in a 2-day residential high performance HVAC training with a special half day for heat pumps heat pump sizing at the end of March. And we've basically selected, yes, how do I sign up? Maybe how much would that cost? Maybe having advance notice helps. March is kind of far off, so maybe you could get that in your schedule. No, I can't spare my techs for that long. 2.5 days is too long. No, I don't see the value, or no, the end of March is too busy of a time frame. So we'll give you a couple seconds to fill that out. If we do hold this training, we'll be marketing it widely. I believe there's only room for 30 in the class. And so basically when we send it out, we anticipate that it'll go fast. So here we go. Oh, great. So it looks like a lot of people are interested with a maybe. And then not being able to spare your text. That's kind of what I wondered. And you don't see the value. Okay, great. Well, thanks so much for participating. Our next speaker is Megan Lacey, and I'll hand it off now. Thanks, Megan.
Awesome. Thank you, Holly. All right, so let's roll right into our downstream space heat rebates. Some general qualifications, none of these should be surprising. There's not too many updates with the downstream space heat program this year. But as a reminder, participants must be current PSC single family residents that are using natural gas or PSC electricity to heat the main living area of their home. New construction and multifamily, that's five or more attached units, and commercial accounts are not eligible for the downstream residential rebates. We do have a multifamily rebate program, but that's separate, so we'll leave it there. We do encourage that all rebate applications are submitted within 30 days of installation. Rebates are only available on new qualifying equipment. Rebate cannot exceed pre-tax purchase, and equipment replaced under warranty will not be eligible for a second rebate as well. It's one rebate per home. We do require a paid installation invoice and purchase receipt for the installed products, and that has to include an installation date, installation address, brand, model numbers for all equipment, as well as the full amount paid. It can be a partial payment. We just require that some payment has been made. Of course, you have to comply with all federal, state, and local code requirements. And I think we mentioned, yeah, no combinations with other rebates except where noted. Next slide. Okay, so I briefly touched on this, but as a reminder, because I know it can get kind of confusing with townhomes and small condo units. But when we say single family, we're talking about structures with 4 units or less attached by a contiguous roof line. Again, new construction is not eligible. And this has come up a few times too, when we talk about manufactured, factory-built homes or mobile homes. This is specifically how we define that. But normally it's pretty straightforward. Just wanted you guys to have this definition in case something came up. Next slide. All right, I'm going to do a brief plug here for Efficiency Boost in case some of you are not currently offering Efficiency Boost rebates. But essentially, this is a program that offers increased rebates for customers whose household income is less than 90% of the area median income. So these higher rebates are available for weatherization, windows, water heat, space heat, thermostats, and appliance equipment. Some of these rebates are pretty hefty, so I would definitely encourage checking out the Efficiency Boost webpage linked here at the bottom. Again, because you have those high rebates, it's going to be a lower upfront customer cost for this program. If you're enrolled as an Efficiency Boost provider, you are not charged referral fees through our Trade Ally network. It's obviously a great way to help people in our community. And we actually do a lot of targeted marketing for our Efficiency Boost customers. So you'll kind of get a lot of those referrals. So brief plug here, you'll see throughout my deck, I've also included the Efficiency Boost rebate amounts as kind of a gauge to see, what the difference would be between our standard rebates. All right, so starting off with our natural gas rebates, specifically our furnace and boiler rebates. Again, no surprises here, nothing has changed. We actually did increase the Efficiency Boost rebate for our gas furnaces, so it is now up to $1,400 for Efficiency Boost any manufactured homes. Again, I do want to call out that any natural gas furnace or boiler installed with a new or existing heat pump is not eligible for a rebate. Depending on how they are utilized, heat pumps might offset the gas usage in the home, which would render this measure not cost effective. So essentially, we're claiming a certain amount of gas savings by providing this rebate, but if a customer is actually reverting to a heat pump that's been installed, we're not actually realizing those gas savings. So that's the concern there. This comes up quite often. If there is a heat pump that's installed, but it's only set to air conditioning, again, we can't approve those either because those can be changed at any time. And I will note that PSC is undertaking a pilot to identify dual fuel savings, so kind of like a hybrid situation like this. We're hoping to offer a rebate like this in the future. We don't discourage this configuration, but we just currently can't offer a rebate for it. So good little call out there. And I think we'll move along for the sake of time, but lots of good information. We have our integrated space and water heat rebate. Again, no changes there. We only offer it for single family homes. We've noticed some lower participation rates with our efficiency boost customers, as well as our manufactured home customers. So that's why there's that limitation there. A good takeaway from this slide, systems with a storage tank are not eligible. So that's a really good call out. We get a lot of applications for these where there is a separate storage tank. We can't approve those. All right. Sweet. We'll switch over to our electric rebates. So this is specifically going to be for electric resistance to ductless heat pumps. So those baseboard heaters, cadet heaters, etc. So this is kind of where we start talking about those HSPF and HSPF2 numbers that Holly kind of teed up for us. So the only change here is it's our normal minimum HSPF of 9, or if there's an HSPF2 rating, it would be 8.6. If there's both HSPF and HSPF2, the HSPF value will be used to determine eligibility. And likewise, if there is no HSPF value, then we will use the HSPF2. So a little confusing, but we hope that, by offering, this is all on our website, it'll be emailed out to you as well. So hopefully we can keep things all straight and tidy. Let's see, I'm trying to think of good call outs here. Heat pump conversion rebates are not eligible for customers with existing heat pumps. We try not to be a heat pump replacement company. However, if a customer's heat pump has been broken for 2 or more years, we can provide an exception upon a review of the customer's usage. So that would be a great example of when you would contact one of our energy advisors for a rebate consideration. They fill out this form, I review it and make sure that everything's good to go and can give you guys the green light to offer a rebate. All right. And we also have our electric forced air furnace to ductless heat pump rebates. A similar kind of call here with the HSPF and HSPF2 values. Let's see, we have the different rebate amounts. Again, has to be existing PSC electric customer using an existing electric forced air furnace as the home's primary source of heating. And at least one indoor head must be installed in the main living area. Bedroom only installations do not qualify, nor do basements or workshops. Again, that dual fuel situation is going to be a non-starter for us currently. So customers with existing natural gas furnaces or boilers are not eligible for this rebate. And we also have our electric forced air furnace to the traditional unitary or ducted heat pumps. These HSPF values are going to be slightly different. It's HSPF 8.5 or HSPF2 of 7.5. Again, HSPF is going to take priority if there's both values available on the equipment. We have, again, the rebates listed here. You'll see the increased rebate for our efficiency boost in manufactured home customers. Primary existing heating has to be electric forced air using PSC electricity. good to double check that because we definitely have some mixed utilities here in the area. We talked about using more of the heads in the main living room areas. And again, the hybrid system. A good call out here, ducted mini splits may qualify if it is serving the whole home and there's an air handler installed on site. Again, that's a good one to maybe reach out to an EA on. These installations will be sent for verification. We have 100% verification on these, so you'll just want to double check that you are in fact meeting that requirement in order to receive the full $1,500 rebate. And if it doesn't, if it's not serving the whole home, you still will be eligible for the $800. However, that's a good distinguisher, especially if this is offered as an instant. Good call outs for ADU requirements. We do require for any of our rebates being installed in an ADU, it has to be occupied full time. That's okay if there's renters in there, but there has to be renters currently in there and renters after the install. Airbnbs or Verbos do not qualify because we cannot confirm that they're going to be rented out full time. The ADU must have an additional living area independent of the primary dwelling, so no shared venting, and it has to include a fully functioning kitchen and full bath. All right, next slide. Sweet. Okay, so out of curiosity, because we're looking into these hybrid heating system, we're looking into these pilots, I'm curious to hear how frequently your companies install dual fuel hybrid heating systems. Is it regularly, occasionally, rarely, or never? Give you a few seconds. Regularly. Okay, that's really good to know. Occasionally, rarely, never. Okay, that's good information that I will forward on to our team that's running the pilot. Thank you for participating. Okay, and as Holly mentioned, we do now have a heating cost calculator as an additional tool for y'all. And this will be available with the link that Holly shared. I believe it's also going to be in the Tree Ally Connect. And it has the updated 2023 energy costs. I know we recently updated those a few months ago, so this is all up to date. And it's a really great tool to show how the efficiency ratings and the different types of equipment really affects the home's annual energy costs. So you put in your existing system, the proposed new system, as well as all of the energy efficiency ratings, and it shows kind of the differences between, if a customer has an existing electric forced air furnace and they want to install a unitary heat pump, they can see kind of those real life savings that they're going to see year over year, and you can even possibly calculate like a payoff time. I do want to note these do not include cooling costs. Again, we are heating focused up here in the north, and they also don't include any local taxes. Kind of some background as far as how this works. It was based on the average size home of around 2,000 square feet with around 2.6 occupants. So obviously this is going to change if there's more people living there, depending on home characteristics. Is it one story? Is it two story? And as well as customer behavior. How are they really using their energy? I also want to call out. It seems like our ducted systems are actually calculated using perfect systems. So if there's maybe some unsealed duct work, that would obviously affect the efficiency. So you might want to check out our weatherization rebates. Shameless plug for me. But yeah, so this is probably over a year, but we are rolling out an advanced duct sealing rebate starting, I guess, Sunday. So this is live. We are offering $1,250 per single family home, and it has to be listed as an instant rebate on the invoice. And so our advanced duct sealing is different from our standard duct sealing because it uses an internal duct sealant that's aerosolized and pumped through the ductwork. And this is actually a technology that is patented by AeroSeal. So that might be a name that most of you are familiar with. So essentially, advanced duct sealing is going to be covering AeroSeal installations. A brief tangent here. I know you're kind of like, duct sealing, why is this in space heat? In conversations with AeroSeal, it seems like for the most part, all of our space heat contractors are the ones that are certified to install advanced duct sealing. So that's why we're kind of including it here as an offering. Currently, it is listed as an option on our weatherization rebate page for our customers. However, we are working on building out a standalone landing page that will have lots of information, FAQs, can provide more education for our customers that you'll be able to point to. And we're hoping for that to launch in February. But this is live. The application for contractors to apply for this rebate will also be live, I believe, next week. However, if you do an AeroSeal install between January 1st and the time that that application is available, you will qualify. But again, it's going to be installations on or after January 1st, 2023. Okay. Oh, can we go back one slide? Sorry about that. I went on a tangent, but really quick, I want to talk about the eligibility requirements. We do use the pre-leakage test to determine eligibility. So the leakage prior to installation has to be greater than or equal to 200 CFM at 50 pascals or the equivalent. There's also another requirement which we can send out. I have a poll later to discuss this as well, but basically if there's any like visible ducting issues, gaps, holes, crushed ductwork, that's going to make this home eligible for advanced duct sealing. And we are going to require that duct sealing report showing the before and after leakage in the rebate application, in addition to like that paid invoice. All right, next slide. So if you are interested in offering this advanced duct sealing, you can reach out to AeroSeal. They will let you know about all of the training requirements, as well as what type of equipment will be needed. So they've created their own landing page for us here. And if you're already a certified AeroSeal dealer and you're ready to rock and roll and submit some rebate applications, and you want some more information, you want in writing when all this is going to be available for you to apply, please reach out to Trade Ally Support and we'll be in contact with you. It's also really great for us to know who is currently offering this and any additional information, feedback, because I know this is going to be a new program. So we encourage any and all takeaways. So definitely reach out. Looking forward to launching this new offering. So again, curious if you could rate your interest in participating in this advanced duct sealing rebate. You can let me know if there's no interest, little to medium, interested, very interested. That would be helpful. Okay, we got some little to medium, no interest. It is because you have to become an AeroSeal certified dealer. I know it is somewhat of a lift, but again, I do think that this is a good offering. Our standard duct sealing, you can only seal what you can access, and advanced duct sealing kind of gets the whole ductwork system. But good to know there's about a good chunk of you that have interest. So we will be in touch, definitely. Alrighty, well, I will hand things off to Pat here, but of course I will be here throughout the entire presentation, and we have our Q&A at the end, so we'll touch base then. Pat?
Thanks, Megan. Again, Pat Casper, Program Manager for Downstream Water Heat, and this will be for single family existing customers. Next slide. Water heat general qualifications, many of you might recognize this from what Megan just presented. They are mostly the same as space heats, downstream space heat general qualifications. And important to know here again, single family existing gas or electric customers, new construction, multifamily, all of these have separate programs that you can find on our websites. Next slide, in the interest of time. We'll get straight into natural gas water heat. For natural gas storage water heaters, we're requiring Energy Star certified to Energy Star 4.0 gas storage water heaters. The base rebate is $50, and the efficiency boost program that Megan had primed us on also includes an increased rebate for storage water heaters here at $100, as well as with manufactured homes. These are the same as last year, but important to note. And the customer requirements just need to be a natural gas customer in a single family home. And for tankless water heaters, they must again be Energy Star certified tankless gas water heaters. The base rebate is the same as last year at $250, but we increased the efficiency boost and manufactured home rebate to $600 to cover more of that cost for the customer. Again, PSE natural gas customer is the requirement there, and must be Energy Star certified. Next slide. For electric water heat, showing midstream here, Holly went over midstream, but again, this is for electric hybrid heat pump water heaters. It's going to be between the midstream and the retail channel. For the retail channel, it's going to be a $500 retrofit only. The efficiency boost and manufactured home rebate is an additional $200 on top of that $500 that the customer gets from either the midstream or the retail channel. And the equipment requirements, again, NEA Tier 4 or NEA Tier 3 or 4, depending on the midstream channel, and NEA Tier 3 or above for retail channel, and must be purchased at a Lowe's and or Home Depot store. Retail's likely not going to apply to your situations, but I think it's important for you to know what's going on there. Next slide. Again, the retail channel, it's going to be for heat pump water heaters and the electric side, and are rebated at the point of sale at participating Lowe's and the Home Depot stores. It is a validated coupon. It's no longer just an instant discount, but a validated coupon that customers must apply for online, and they must provide their phone and address. And so that it's limited to one customer, one heat pump water heater per customer that can get that coupon. And then there's also the downstream pathway that customers can use if they have not received an incentive through either the midstream or retail channels. This is very unlikely to occur, but customers who purchase a qualifying heat pump water heater online or a non-participating store through retail channel might use this channel. Contractors who use non-participating out-of-state distributors to source their heat pump water heaters could trigger the customer being able to use the downstream rebate. And then customers who are eligible for additional bonus incentives based on their house or income status. That's that efficiency boost or manufactured homes requirement. Next slide. And we'll wrap this up with a poll question. We're just interested, if you are interested in a one-on-one with a PSE rebate training with you and your office, please indicate we're wondering if you definitely have that desire, or maybe you want to think about that for a minute, or if you think it's not needed. We'll give you a couple seconds. Great, seems like there's great interest in that. So we'll take that and we'll be in touch with you and your contacts. And I'm gonna pass it to Kevin for the Trade Alley Network.
Great. Thanks, Pat. Good morning, everybody. My name is Kevin Peterson, and I'm the market manager for the Rebates and Verification Program, covering for Colin Stone, who is our Trade Ally Network program manager. And also, in the essence of time, I'm going to run through this a little bit quickly, but any questions that we don't get to, we will have an email address that you can forward all of your questions to Colin as well. So next slide, please. So program benefits for being a Trade Ally partner. Well, first and foremost, you're helping to support our energy efficiency programs, which is in everybody's best interest, and helps to support also you guys for pitching energy efficient products and services. PSE instant rebates. This is new and near and dear to my heart because I manage the rebate processing folks. You are able to offer all of the rebates, or at least most of the rebates that you heard about today, as instant rebates at the point of sale to our customers, which is a huge benefit. I can't stress enough how much our customers appreciate this and how much it actually makes you guys look good to be able to take care of this for our customers. In addition to that, you can also participate in limited time offers that we offer from time to time, which are partnerships with us to potentially offer additional rebates and other offers that are mutually beneficial to us. And also you have the opportunity, which is really, really awesome, to receive customer referrals for products from us, which again, who doesn't want referrals? Who doesn't want business? And again, access to PSC initiatives and special programs from time to time as we offer them. Next slide. Applications and processing. So as I stated before, we encourage all of our trade ally partners to provide instant rebates to all qualifying customers. To do that, instant rebates are applied on the customer's invoice, reducing the total customer responsibility for the rebate on the actual invoice. So essentially, you would be fronting the rebate and then are reimbursed by us, by my team. Trade allies may submit documentation to PSC for reimbursement through the Trade Ally portal, which we will definitely provide a link for, and it's pretty user friendly. I can speak in the past, we had a system that wasn't as user friendly. This is pretty awesome. And we have tools to be able to walk you through and online resources to be able to walk you through if you have questions as well. And then we ask, if this isn't something that you feel comfortable doing as a minimum service, we encourage you to provide a completed application packet to all eligible customers to complete with supporting documentation so that they can then apply on their own for our rebates if they purchase qualifying equipment. And here's some additional links as well. Trade Ally support at psc.com. That is going to be your best resource for any questions pertaining to anything with regards to our Trade Ally relationships and instant rebates. Next slide. I don't know how well you guys can see this, but this is a sample invoice of what we require to be actually on an invoice to be able to reimburse the instant rebate. We can go ahead and kind of breeze through these. I won't go into too much detail, but company information, clearly state the invoice number, required customer information, first, last name, full installation address, customer phone number, and email address if available. Clearly state the date of install. This is very, very important. We need to know when it was installed and whatnot. Required equipment information, quality of products installed, quantity of products installed, equipment being replaced, equipment being installed, including all associated model numbers, and the total unit price and cost of installation. Number 6, also probably one of the most critical, I would say, is clearly state all instant rebate deductions and total customer responsibility due after the deducted sales tax. That's a question that we get all the time. Again, you will be provided this example, and I will tell you that we have worked with contractors that maybe have a system set up where it's challenging to format this particularly exactly how we need it, and we have worked with them in the past. If something becomes a barrier, usually we're successful at getting it to look pretty close to this, but again, if you have questions, please reach out. Next slide. Program verification, another topic near and dear to my heart because I manage this team. We conduct random, which are now probably 95% virtual inspections on all energy efficiency rebate programs. It used to be pre-COVID, my team would actually go out physically into customer homes and inspect the equipment at up to 10 to 15% across the board as a energy efficiency portfolio. Since COVID, we've moved that operation into the field. And so we ask that you just let the customers know that this actually is something that is required by us to do, and potentially their job could be selected as a random verification. And essentially what that would mean is one of our quality assurance specialists would contact them and just ask them to show them the equipment either via FaceTime or send pictures to be able to confirm that what they actually purchased and installed was energy efficient. Once scheduled, there is a 2-hour window when the customer will need to be present. That's actually lessened a little bit, obviously, due to the fact that it's virtual, and we've been able to streamline that as well. So it's not as burdensome as it once was. Next slide. All right. So that brings us to, I believe, what is the final polling question. So if you aren't already, are you interested in becoming a PSC Trade Ally? We sure hope the answer is yes, or that you already are. So we'll give you a few seconds to vote on this. All right, look at that. 82%. That's fantastic. Thanks, you guys. Oh, I guess I do have one more slide. So if you're interested in becoming a trade ally, you can go ahead and click on that link. And there's also a link to the portal that I was mentioning for our instant rebates. And again, most important, the trade ally support at psc.com is your best resource to get a hold of Colin and his team to answer any other questions you may have. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm going to kind of speed along a little bit here, and we have quite a few program resources here, but these will go into the chat or they will be provided in a follow-up email. This way we can get some questions answered. So let's go ahead into the next slide. Again, here we have some more useful links for some of the programs here. Don't worry if you can't get them. Like I said, they will either be posted in the chat or provided to you in a follow-up email. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have arrived to the Q&A, and in the interest of time, we're going to try to speed this up here. So let's get started with the first question, and this one is for Megan, and it's from Steve Westall. He asked, is it based on a 24-hour heating or unit off during the day and night?
Yeah, I'm looking at this question. I'm a little confused at the context, but if we're talking about the home's main source of heating and like what that looks like, it would, I mean, so what we do is we actually look at like the seasonality, and so it is kind of like a 24-hour culmination over a period of time. When we say like main source of heating in the main living space, that means, you know, like the living room, the kitchen, kind of like the area that most people spend all of their time. So I hope that helps. I don't know if you have a follow-up question, please feel free to throw it in the chat as well.
Okay, next question. Can we go, comes from Mara Engner. Can we go over that the qualifications would be for the 1500 AH to air source HP, but we install a DHP? Not sure who that goes to.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this is asking about the $1,500 rebate for an electric forced air furnace to an air source heat pump if they install a mini split. If you're doing an electric forced air furnace to a ductless, like it's a ductless unit, that's an $800 rebate. For the $1,500 one, if you're doing a ducted mini split, that needs to be servicing the whole home. It needs to be sized correctly. It needs to be reaching all of those venting outlets. And again, those will be sent to our verification team. So I hope that answers your question. Again, on HARI, if you put in the HARI certification number or the model number, it will have a classification, and that's how you can tell if it's a unitary or if it's a mini split. So it's a good call out if you want to do like a gut check on those.
Okay, our next question comes from an anonymous attendee. If contractors are offering instant rebates, is there a reason why the invoice would need to be PIF if we are the ones giving the rebate?
I think that one was for me. What was that? So can you repeat that question one more time, Juan?
Yeah, if contractors are offering instant rebates, is there a reason why the invoice would need to be a PIF if we are the ones giving the rebate?
Paid in full.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry
Paid
about
in
that.
full. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, esteemed panel, that we can partially paid invoices can be accepted. Did I get that right?
Yes, correct.
Fantastic.
For my program.
And PSC requires that it's either paid in full or a substantial payment has been made. Because if a customer defaults on payment and you go collect the equipment, we are not able to claim the energy savings. So we need some demonstration that it's been substantially paid.
Okay, well, it looks like we're out of time. So any of the questions that didn't get answered here today will be answered in a follow-up email. Let's go ahead and take it to the last slide there. So just a few things before we close out here. First of all, thank you guys for joining us today. Winners for the prizes that we'll be giving out will be contacted on January 6th, so tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. And don't forget to take that post-event survey. And if you want to find us out in the community, you can go ahead and visit psc.com/events. And that is all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much for joining us. And this event will be recorded and you will be getting a copy of it in your email.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
everybody.
all.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.